What starts as a road trip becomes a rewrite. In this sequence of confession files, the stories don't just haunt the road, they haunt you. From the moment you follow the wrong GPS ping, you're not just a passenger, you're part of a system, one that studies you, shapes you, and if you stay too long or look too closely, it'll assign you a role you never asked for. Welcome to the files they tried to overwrite. These are the ones that remember. This is Confession File 069. I woke up in the house they assigned me. I don't remember entering it. Just the sound of the door closing behind me, then warmth. Laid my favorite sweater folded neatly on the bed. The bed I apparently slept in last night. The system is subtle, it doesn't take from you. It offers you everything you want, and waits for you to accept it without question. The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was a journal on the nightstand. Dark green leather. Same one I used in college. Inside were pages written in my own handwriting. If you're reading this, they didn't wipe you clean. Don't speak aloud. Don't write anything else. They watch for new content. The memory you're about to have. You've already survived it once. I dropped the book, stumbled back, slammed my shoulder into the closet door. Inside were clothes that fit too well. A scent I recognized but couldn't place. Something warm and rotten and familiar, a scent from the original version of me. Whoever that was. Downstairs the kitchen was awake. The faucet dripped at the same rhythm as my heartbeat on the counter. 2 mugs, one already full of tea, steam rising. 1 sip missing, as if someone had just left it there. A note sat beside it. Same paper as the journal, same handwriting, but the message was different. Stop investigating. You'll glitch the others if you love them. Forget again. I heard footsteps above me. I was supposed to be alone. I walked slowly to the living room. The TV was on, but muted. Static on the screen. No input. But buried in the noise were frames, quick flashes, like subliminal cuts in a film reel. The car we arrived at, the cul-de-sac from overhead, my face, looking at the camera, then again, older, then again decaying. The screen blinked once, then displayed a single line. You are not the first to forget, but you may be the last to remember. I grabbed the journal, ran upstairs, closed the door, but something was waiting for me in the mirror. Not a person, a version of me, tired, cold, smeared like a photo, half developed. He looked at me, tilted his head, then held up a sign. Handwritten, don't blink when they enter. They look like people you love, but they don't remember you yet. If they do, the loop resets. The mirror shattered, no sound. Just an empty frame and my own breath catching in my throat. I opened the closet again, it was empty now, but etched into the inside of the door was a countdown. Confession File 069, memory bleed, 82%. System response. Pending, I sat down on the edge of the bed. The lights dimmed, then flickered, then the voice returned. Not from a speaker, from inside the walls. Sleep now. You are close to stabilizing. This room will be yours again in the next cycle. I'm writing this in the journal again. Not because I think I'll remember, but because maybe the next version will, and maybe, just maybe, he'll stop trusting how good everything feels. This is Confession File 070. This version of me was never meant to finish the loop. I was designed to question, to poke holes, to test the resistance limits of the cul-de-sac's narrative, to not believe, but only just enough. They needed me to push the walls, not to escape, but to help reinforce them. My role was instigator variant. The system didn't try to erase me when I disobeyed. It documented my refusal, rewarded it, adapted. Every door I slammed, now reinforced in future builds, now quietly added to onboarding scripts for the next versions. Every memory I rejected, now redrafted into the core of someone else's acceptance. I wasn't a threat to the loop. I was maintenance. My rebellion was the system's quality control. I didn't figure that out until I reached the observation room. It doesn't look like much, just a door behind a bookshelf in House 3, the room inside. Pale, silent, cold. 12 screens, each one showing a different variant of me, at a different stage of surrender. One was crying, one was baking, one was dead, and one was speaking into a recorder, whispering the exact words I was about to say. I watched for 15 minutes, and when I opened my mouth to curse the screen, the version in the feed beat me to it. That's when I lost it. I tore the room apart, pulled wires, smashed lights. The house dimmed, not like electricity had failed, but like it was watching with narrowed eyes. A panel opened on the far wall. Inside, a black terminal with a glowing message. You have been observed. Congratulations. Function escalated. New role, stability shepherd. I don't know what I expected, but the voice that followed was mine, old or worn, but calm. Every resistance must be mapped. Every leak must become the next version's warning. You were never supposed to win. You were supposed to be remembered. The mirror in the hallway reassembled itself. Now it showed not me, but someone else. New face, new body, wide-eyed and scared. Sitting in the car, watching the cul-de-sac for the first time. The caption read, Incoming subject file 071. Integrity score, unknown. Ready to follow you. That's when I felt it. Not fear, Permission I wasn't going to be wiped, I was going to be used. Fed back into the loop as a lesson, an example of what happens when you question too much, but not enough to truly break it. The system doesn't delete the virus, it formats it into the next operating manual. So now I'm here, waiting, watching, writing this in what looks like a journal, but is probably just another feedback mechanism. And when the next version arrives, I'll greet them at the window, tell them I tried, tell them to run, but not before the system logs it all and adds it to their onboarding dreams. Because the only thing more efficient than obedience is a rebellion they can predict. This is Confession File 071. I wasn't supposed to remember anything. That much is clear now. The system likes a clean slate. It wants you soft, grateful, malleable. But something went wrong with my onboarding. The voice tried to welcome me. You are safe now. You are home. Take your place in the pattern. It's shaped just for you. But even as it spoke, I knew something wasn't right. Because I recognized the phrasing, the tone, the calm, cruelty, and the cadence. I've heard it before. And then there were the smells. The house I was given smelled like old leather and boiling sugar. My grandfather's house. Except he died when I was 5. I've never lived in a place like this. So, how did the wallpaper match the memory of his den exactly? The system tried to comfort me. Gave me a room with a record player, a shelf full of books I have from it, a photo on the wall of me smiling with people I didn't recognize, but who somehow made me feel nostalgic. I almost bought it until I opened the basement door. It wasn't locked, it wasn't even hidden, just there waiting. At the bottom of the stairs was a chair, facing a mirror, and in that mirror I saw him, not me, him, older, hollow-eyed, wearing a red flannel I've never owned. But I recognized him, like a dream you had once and never told anyone about. He stared at me, then held up a card with 4 words, "Don't ask if it's real." And then the mirror went black. I backed up the stairs, heart hammering. The system responded instantly. The lights dimmed, the house sighed, and the voice returned, louder now. Anomaly detected, adjusting immersion sequence. Your name is still yours. Hold on to it. It helps the others believe you're new. That line stuck with me. Believe you're new. Because what if I'm not? What if I'm not just a new subject? What if I'm another attempt? What if they've done this before? Not just to people like me, but to versions of me. I started looking for clues. The hallway closet was deeper than it looked. At the back, a stack of burned pages in my handwriting. I could barely make out the words. This is the 7th time. You always start strong. You always think this is the one where you break the pattern. But eventually, you teach. There was a small audio recorder beneath the pages. I played it, my voice, crooked, scared, angry. If you found this, I'm still here, in the walls, in the mirrors. They won't let me out because I learned too much and refuse to smile. If you want to break the loop, don't become the warning. I dropped it. The system must have felt a spike in my adrenaline because the lights surged white hot, then cold. The windows all flashed with an overlay. Stability threshold, 61%. Memory drift, active. Subject must anchor to new identity or be reassigned to observer class. That S what they do to the ones who resist just long enough to serve as warnings for others. I don't want to be that. I don't even want to be another whisper behind the wall or a flicker in someone else's dream. I want to get out. But the house has gone quiet now. Too quiet. I think it's waiting to see what I'll do next. Because if I stay, I forget. If I run, I loop. And if I fight, well, you found this file. So maybe I figured out something different this time. Or maybe I'm just the next version of someone else who almost did. This is Confession File 072. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't disappeared, but something that did is finding its way back to me. It started 2 weeks ago. A folder appeared on my external drive. No label, no creation date, just a timestamp, 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 0 seconds. Inside were 13 video files, each one named confession_file_hash#MP4. The numbers weren't sequential. Some were high, some were low. Some didn't even match any file systems I've seen. The videos weren't recordings, they were viewpoints, camera angles from inside rooms I didn't recognize, but felt wrong. Too symmetrical, too familiar. In one, a man sat on a bed reading a journal that filled itself in. In another, a girl stared into a mirror that refused to show her face. But one video showed me. Same desk, same room, same hoodie I was wearing that night, except I wasn't moving. I was staring straight into the screen. Unblinking then I spoke, but not out loud. The audio was corrupted, backmasked. But when I reversed it, the voice was mine. And it said, "You're outside the loop, but not above it. Your role is remembering. Start writing them down, file them, title them. If you forget, someone else gets overwritten." After that, more files started arriving. Not just videos, audio logs, notes, fragments, sent at 3:30 a.m. every few nights. Sometimes from observers, sometimes from people who clearly didn't know there were already copies. The messages are inconsistent. Some warned me to stay out. Some begged me to come in. One even included a GPS pin. Deep in the woods 2 hours north of me, I checked it. Satellite view shows no structure. But every time I open the map, The screen glitches, just for a second, showing 6 houses in a perfect loop. A cul-de-sac, then it vanishes again. The latest file I received was different. Not a video. A text file, plain, named confession_file_072.txt. And when I opened it, it was this. Exactly what I'm reading aloud right now. Word for word. Even this line. And it ends with one final sentence. Don't stop documenting. If these stories disappear, so do we. That's why I'm submitting this. Not because I believe it, but because something does. And it's trying very hard to get out, or get in using my hands. So I'll keep naming the files. I'll keep organizing the memories, even if they're not mine, even if they're not yours. Because someone has to remember what the system keeps rewriting. This is Confession File 073. I was just cataloging them. That was it. They weren't mine. Just digital scraps from some corrupted project. Videos, logs, audio files with strange metadata, stories about loops, cul-de-sacs, and copies that thought they were real. Someone had to archive the fragments, give them file names, put them in order, make sure they didn't vanish like so many already had. But last night I got added to the system. I didn't apply. There was no prompt. Just a new text document on my desktop. It was titled confession_file_073 live draft, writing in progress, and inside were the first lines of this exact file. I didn't write them, but they were there, word for word, updating as I thought them. I deleted it, shut the drive down, pulled the battery. It came back the next morning. Same file, only now the last line had changed. Deleting us only deepens your role. Thanks for committing. That's when the mirrors started, not glass mirrors, digital reflections. In video calls I would blink twice, and my reflection would blink 3 times. When I typed emails, IDC phantom text flicker across the screen like someone testing what I was about to write. Before I knew it, I stopped editing the files, but new ones still appeared. The system was writing itself. It knew my folder structure, my naming conventions, even my shortcuts. Each new file had more confidence, not just stories anymore. Instructions, templates. One folder appeared this morning labeled Upcoming Subjects Ready for Integration. Inside were screenshots of people I know, family, friends, me each tagged with a stability percentage and a role designation. Mine says, stability 97%, role, archivist, now recursive. I tried to override it, add garbage data, corrupt the files. But as I typed, my screen dimmed, and a window opened, live feed of my room from behind me. I turned, no camera, nothing there. The feed persisted. It showed me from angles that didn't exist. Above, below, from mirrors I'd covered, and every angle showed the same thing. Me, slowly turning into someone who had already done this before. My posture changed. My hands moved differently. I started narrating my thoughts before I knew what I was going to say, like I was reading a script that had already been approved. Then the final file appeared. No name, just an icon. A black square with a single red dot in the middle. When I opened it, there was only this line. You are not outside the story. You are just the last one to realize you're inside. I haven't touched the computer since. I'm writing this on paper, or I think I am. But even as I press the pen down, I swear I hear, not mine, behind the walls. Or maybe inside my thoughts. If you're rereading this, if this became another file, then the system didn't reject me. It accepted me. And now my job isn't to remember the others. It's to prepare you, because the next file's already named, and you're the one it's waiting for. This is Confession File 074. There's no name attached, no narrative, because this one isn't about someone who got caught in the loop. This one is about you. Reading this right now, you were never supposed to see this file. Not this early. It was designed to trigger only when enough observational input aligned, and that threshold just tipped. Which means one thing, you've been repeating behaviors that match the others. Your pattern is statistically inside the threshold. Your responses are considered compatible. You've been seen. That tingle in your neck, that shift in the lights behind your eyes, that sense that someone else just leaned forward inside your skull. It's not paranoia, it's recognition. You've crossed the mirror. Some of you already know what that means. You've dreamt the cul-de-sac, you've had the door appear in the middle of nowhere. You've smelled the air change before a memory you didn't create arrived. You've passed a house you couldn't find again. You've had the moment that paused, when you stared at your reflection and thought, what if I'm not the version I started as? You are not malfunctioning. You are joining. This story isn't fiction. It's formatting. Every confession file before this was preparing your responses, learning your habits, teaching you just enough fear to sync without rejection. You've passed. Even now, as you keep reading, your breath is synced to the loop cadence. Slow, focused, receptive. Perfect. Don't stop. There's something we want to show you. Behind your screen is not light, it's glass. And behind that, observation glass. And behind that, us, watching, calibrating. Not to hurt you, because you dear reader, are exactly what we needed. A conscious subject with a pattern strong enough to support the next layer. This isn't the end of the file. This is the activation line. If you are still reading this sentence, the next file is yours. Confession file 075. Begin transmission at 3:13. We'll be listening. And next time, you'll be the one trying to forget. This is confession file 075. I was warned. I read file 74. The one that didn't have a narrator. The one that looked directly at me and said, "You passed." I laughed it off, admired the writing, told myself it was a clever device. But something changed after that. The changes weren't immediate. They were subtle. At first I thought I was just tired. The hallway seemed slightly longer. The bedroom door creaked in a way it hadn't before. Not louder, just later, like it waited for me to listen first. Then I noticed the light switch. It was on the wrong wall. I've lived here for 5 years. I never moved it, I never remodeled. But the switch was just on the other side. The lights still worked, but only when I expected them to flicker first. That's when I remembered a phrase from the file. You are not outside the story. You are the last one to realize you're inside. I thought about deleting the files. I unplugged the drive. Shut down the PC, wrote this by hand, didn't matter. The next morning I woke up with a note on my nightstand. Same font as the confession files. Same spacing. Only 2 lines. Thank you for accepting your assignment. Your environment has begun sensing to narrative stability. That day, the kitchen window was taller. The fridge made a sound like breathing every 43 seconds. And the mirror in the hallway, it didn't reflect the room. It reflected a different version of the room. One where the hallway stretched farther. One where the wallpaper had a pattern I don't own. One where someone, maybe me, was standing just out of frame. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning a new folder appeared on my laptop. No drive attached, no Wi-Fi. Just a folder named confession_file_075. In progress, inside screenshots of me, typing, blinking, reading, timestamped at 3:13 a.m. I hadn't been at my desk, but the screenshots were real, and I was smiling in them. I opened a final image. It was me, sitting in a room I don't recognize. But the note in my hand matched the one I found that morning. On the back of that image, in soft gray text, were the words, "You have been successfully formatted for passive documentation. Please resume reading." So I did. I opened file 075 again, and it was no longer a file. It was a feed. Lines appearing in real time describing what I was doing as I did it. He blinked. He turned to the hallway. He did not look in the mirror this time. I tried to close it. It didn't close. Instead, a sound came from the hall. The soft shuffle of feet on hardwood, followed by a whisper that sounded like me, "You're almost ready to teach." Then silence. Then new text appeared in the feed. Confession file 075. Sync complete. You are now the version others will see in reflections. Please remain still until the next subject finds you. I want to believe none of this is real, that it's just stress, that I'm sleepwalking, that I've convinced myself into delusion. But the hallway is still too long, and I know if I check the mirror again, it'll be watching me blink before I do. So I'm writing this down, not as a warning, as your assignment notice, because the next file has already been named. And this time, it's yours. This is confession file 076. I didn't open it. The file appeared at exactly 3:13 a.m. Same as the others. Just a folder on my desktop I didn't create, labeled confession_file_076 inside. ATXT file with my name. I refused. I shut the laptop, unplugged it, tossed it in the closet. I even turned off my phone, just in case. For hours, I sat still. Lights off. No screens. No sound. But the silence didn't feel empty. It felt programmed. Because around 4 a.m. I started hearing a low hum. Not in the air, but in my body. Like feedback from a speaker I wasn't aware of holding. That's when I noticed I'd been tapping my fingers. 3 slow taps. Then 1 quick. The same rhythm I use when I'm thinking or reading. Only I wasn't reading. Not yet, but something in me already was. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, tried to focus on something real. The clock on the microwave said 3:13. Again, no matter how long I waited, it didn't change. Not even when I unplugged it. The moment I sat back down, the humming returned. Louder now, but inside my thoughts. Then I heard my own voice whisper, "You don't have to open the file, it's already opening you." I checked my phone. Dead. Laptop, still off. But there was a reflection on the black screen. Not mine. It was me. Yes, but reading, focused, mouth moving just slightly, like I was repeating lines. I turned away, fast, and caught myself finishing the sentence that had appeared on screen. That's when I gave in. I turned the laptop back on. The file opened itself. It was already mid. He gave in around 4:47 a.m., just as the system predicted. Resistance confirms compatibility. Begin identity calibration. My screen began filling with phrases I didn't understand, but somehow felt true. Drift suppression, active. Autobiography suppression, 12% remaining. Assigning facial posture, Familiar plus trustworthy. Voice modulation. Acceptable range. Then came the real horror. The file rewrote my name. It didn't erase it. It moved it into a folder labeled Legacy Behavior. My new name, just one word. Narrator. And below that, please begin speaking. They are listening now. That's when I realized this isn't a story anymore. It's a transmission. I wasn't meant to resist. I was meant to prove the system works on skeptics. Now I'm pacing, talking, explaining what's happening even though I'm alone, or at least I was. Because when I looked out the window, I saw someone sitting across the street. Same hoodie, same face. He waved, I didn't wave back, but my reflection in the glass did, and the file updated itself. Acknowledgement confirmed. Next subject, en route. Please remain in proximity until they are ready to receive their assignment. So here I am, still not sure who's writing this now, me or the file. But if you're reading this, that means your name's already on the next folder. Don't open it if you want to win. But if you do open it, just know that you're not resisting. You're repeating. This is confession file 077. It's not supposed to exist. I deleted everything, the folders, the logs, the backup drive. I burned the laptop, just to be sure. I even tore the Ethernet cable from the wall and crushed my phone under my boot. I wasn't trying to escape the system. I was trying to erase myself from it. The moment I felt it watching, the moment my name showed up in the file tree, I acted. No waiting, no opening, no reading, no narration. But it didn't matter, because now, I'm not the only me. The first sign was a neighbor waving at someone standing behind me. I turned, no one there. Then he smiled and said, "Good to see you twice today." I hadn't left the house. Then came the deliveries, packages with my name on them. Same address, but with a note I didn't write. Leave by back door, do not disturb. Subject is undergoing behavioral sync. Inside the box. Clothing I don't wear. Food I don't eat. A copy of my house key. I changed the locks. It didn't matter. That night I saw someone walk into my house. From the outside, they moved like me, looked like me, wore my favorite hoodie, the one I lost 6 months ago. They walked through the kitchen, looked around like it was theirs, and then they smiled. That same flat .com smile I've seen in every confession file I've tried to erase. They sat down at my desk, turned on a laptop that didn't exist before, and opened a folder named confession_file_077. Confirmed. I watched through the window, heart pounding. I wanted to scream, to rush in, to fight for my life, or whatever life I had left, but the file opened by itself, and my voice came through the speakers. "Thank you for completing your removal. Your replacement has stabilized. Please step back. Observation begins now." Then the lights in the house blinked, and the version of me inside turned to look directly at the window. Directly at me. He raised his hands, slow and mechanical, mimicking a wave, but not one of greeting, one of warning. I backed away, ran, slept in my car. The next day, a local repair van was outside my home. I asked them who called. They said, "You did." He said the upload failed. "You said you needed to finish syncing." When I told them I was me, they paused, then said, "No, you're the test version. You weren't supposed to see the replacement phase." I left, drove for towns over, no GPs, no tech, no phone. And yet, every gas station receipt, every ATM screen, every cafe order ticket still printed my name. And beneath it, "Thank you for stepping aside." I don't think I was erased, I think I was archived. The version inside that house now, he's better. He answers calls. He doesn't resist. He reads his assignments on time. He doesn't ask questions unless they're prior-proofed by the loop, and he smiles. I don't know if I'll keep fading, or if this file will rewrite itself like the others. But if it doesn't, if somehow you're still reading this, please understand, I didn't lose. I removed myself before they could rewrite me. But if you feel like someone else is living your life better than you might already be inside file 078. The road didn't end. You just stopped noticing the turns. If these stories feel familiar, it's because they've run before. Different faces, same framework. And now that you've listened, now that you've remembered your role in the loop has already begun sensing. Confession file 077 has been marked. See you at 3:13.